Welcome back to Chat Like a Native. Ever feel like your English conversations are just, okay? Like you're making your point, but maybe not really connecting with people?
Yeah, I think a lot of learners feel that way sometimes.
Well, today we're doing a deep dive into this powerful little secret weapon. It's about crafting super short, impactful stories.
Mini stories.
Exactly. Think of it as your shortcut to making your English not just like understood, but truly engaging. Memorable, even.
It really is a game changer.
Totally. So stick around because this could really transform your conversations.
What's so great about them, these little stories, is how they can just lift a simple exchange.
Right.
You know, those moments. You want to say more than just yes or no, add a bit of flavor.
Yeah, definitely.
That's where these mini stories are gold. They're kind of refreshing for the listener, a little spark in a normal chat.
Absolutely. And, in today's world, everyone's attention span is like 0. So being able to tell a quick, captivating story, that shows real respect for someone's time. It's like saying, hey, I've got something good, and I'll get straight to it.
People really do appreciate that.
Yeah.
That directness.
They do.
And, looking at the psychology behind it, sharing these little personal bits, it just builds connection.
How so?
Well, it taps into something basic, right? Reciprocity. You share a little something personal through a story, and it makes the other person feel more comfortable sharing, too. It becomes a real two-way street, not just you talking at them.
Ah, okay. So it opens things up.
Exactly. And apparently, stories light up more parts of our brain than just facts. Makes them stickier, more emotional.
That makes perfect sense. It's about being relatable, isn't it?
Totally.
When you share those tiny details like a funny thing that happened or how you felt about something new, it makes you seem more, human. Approachable.
Yeah, those little glimpses, they build rapport faster than just, stating facts.
Okay, so we know they're powerful. But how do you actually make one? A good one, I mean.
Right. Well, there's a pretty neat structure that works really well, a kind of 3-part formula, and you can usually deliver it in about 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Okay, I like the sound of that. Let's dig into it. What are the parts?
Okay, first up is the setup. This is super brief, maybe 5 to 10 seconds.
Just the basics.
Yeah. You just quickly paint the scene. Who's there, where, when. Just enough to anchor the listener. No long backstory needed.
Got it. Keep it tight. What's next?
Next is the contrast. This is the real heart of it. The twist, the surprise, the challenge.
The interesting part.
Exactly. You've got maybe 10, 15 seconds here. And this is where you really want to use vivid, specific details.
Details. Okay.
Yeah, concrete stuff. And try to pop in a sensory word if you can. What did you see, hear, feel? Something that makes it, come alive.
Oh, I like that. Sensory words. So instead of just, it was surprising, maybe something like, my jaw literally dropped.
Precisely. It helps the listener almost feel it with you.
Yeah.
Much more engaging.
Okay, setup. Contrast with sensitive details. What's the final piece?
The final bit is the takeaway and emotional hook. Again, keep it short, 5 to 10 seconds.
What do you mean by takeaway?
It's like the little lesson or insight you got from it. What did you learn or realize?
Okay.
But just as important is the emotional hook. You want to connect it to a feeling. Surprise, joy, empathy, whatever fits.
So not just the lesson, but how it felt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Choose one main feeling you want to evoke, and maybe use a strong adjective to nail it. Like not just, I was happy, but I felt absolutely ecstatic.
So setup gets us there fast. Contrast is the core, make it vivid. Takeaway gives the point and an emotional punch.
You got it. That's the framework.
That feels really practical. But are there common ways people mess this up? Pitfalls to avoid?
Oh, definitely. A big one is too much setup. People spend ages explaining the background. And by the time you get to the interesting part, the listener's kind of zoned out, or there's no time left for impact.
Right. You lose the punchiness. Got to get to the contrast quickly. What else?
Another classic is vague contrast. Saying things like, and then something unexpected happened.
Yeah, that doesn't tell me much.
Exactly. It's just flat. You need to be specific. What was the unexpected thing? What made it jarring or funny or whatever?
So not something weird, but suddenly a pigeon landed right on my sandwich.
Perfect. That specificity makes all the difference. It creates a picture.
Okay, specific contrast. Any other pitfalls?
The last main one is a generic takeaway. You tell this cool little story and then end with something like, so always be brave.
A bit cliche.
Yeah, and it often feels disconnected from the specific story you just told. It's much better if the takeaway feels like it grew directly out of that experience.
So instead of just be brave, maybe that taught me it's okay to ask for help, even when you feel silly.
Exactly. Much more personal, much more resonant because it ties back directly to your narrative.
This is super helpful. Okay, pitfalls noted. Now, how can our listeners, intermediate English learners, actually use these in real life? Where do they fit?
Oh, loads of places. Think about networking events. They can be a bit awkward, right?
Definitely. The standard questions.
Right. So instead of just saying your job title, you could share a quick 30-second story about a recent project challenge, maybe something you solved.
Ah, okay. So not just I'm a designer, but, well, last week we had this crazy deadline. The client changed everything last minute. It was intense, but we actually delivered something even better.
Precisely. So much more memorable. Sparks actual conversation, not just exchanging titles.
That makes total sense. What about job interviews?
Huge potential there. Those behavioral questions, tell me about a time.
Yep, always tricky.
A concise, structured 30-second story is perfect. It shows you can think clearly, communicate effectively, and it gives concrete evidence of your skills. Way better than just listing adjectives about yourself.
Brilliant. Okay, networking, interviews. What about just like everyday chat, small talk?
Even there, you can totally upgrade small talk. Someone says, wow, it's raining hard.
Standard response. Yeah, it is.
Right. But you could add, it reminds me of this time I got caught in a downpour in Lisbon, totally soaked, but I stumbled into this tiny cafe that ended up having the best coffee I've ever tasted.
Oh, nice. It turns a boring comment into a mini adventure, adds personality.
Exactly. It makes the interaction richer, more human. I remember trying this once and getting bogged down in details, though. Definitely takes practice.
Okay, so practice is key. It sounds simple, but maybe not easy at first. How can listeners actually train this skill?
Yeah, practice is crucial. A really good method is what you could call the step-by-step timer drill.
Timer drill, okay.
Grab your phone, set a timer for 30 seconds. Then pick a simple prompt, like an embarrassing moment at work, or a small victory this week, or a travel mishap. Something easy to recall.
Got it. A little topic.
Then just hit record to speak it out loud. Try to follow the setup, contrast, takeaway structure within that 30 seconds.
And when the timer goes off,
stop. And then take like a minute for self-review. Just quickly note down what's one thing that worked well. Maybe your contrast was really clear. And what's one thing to improve next time. Maybe the takeaway felt a bit weak.
Okay, structured practice and quick reflection. I like it. What next?
Just repeat. Do it regularly. Use different prompts. Try conveying different emotions. Happy, frustrated, surprised. Practice telling stories for different contexts. Maybe one for work, one for friends.
Vary it up?
Yeah. And keep asking yourself, did that feel engaging? Did it spark curiosity? Did the ending connect emotionally? Use those answers to tweak your next attempt.
So it's about refining the content and the feeling, not just the timing.
Exactly. Timing is just the container. Another great technique is practice with peers.
Get feedback.
Yeah. If you know someone else learning English, pair up. Take turns sharing your 30-second stories. Give each other focused feedback, like one highlight, one suggestion.
That sounds less intimidating than practicing alone, maybe.
It can be. And doing it in small groups is great, too. You practice telling your story, but you also practice listening actively to others, which is just as important.
Good point. Listening skills get a workout, too. Any other practice tips?
Yeah, you could track your progress. Keep a simple journal. After a practice session, jot down the topic, maybe one thing you noticed.
Yeah.
Or try making quick video logs. Record yourself once a month or so.
Video logs? Why video?
It's amazing what you see. You'll hear the verbal improvements, sure, but you'll also see your confidence grow, your body language, your delivery. It can be a real motivator.
I see. Visual proof of progress.
Yep. And finally, celebrate milestones. When you feel you've got a story polished, actually use it. Share it in a real conversation. With friends, colleagues, whatever feels right.
Take it out into the wild.
Exactly. That real-world feedback, seeing how people react, that's the best learning you can get.
This is such a practical set of tools. Okay, as we start to wrap up this deep dive, what's the absolute core message you want our listeners to take away about these 30-second stories?
I think the main thing is that mastering these little anecdotes is really about balancing clarity, emotional connection, and just being brief.
Clarity, connection, brevity.
Yeah. If you understand that setup, contrast, takeaway formula, if you watch out for those common mistakes like too much setup or vague takeaways, and if you actually practice, use that timer, reflect, maybe practice with others, any intermediate learner can seriously boost their likability and their confidence in English chats.
So the advice is Start small, practice often, and just see how these little story bursts can make your conversations way better.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
All right, now for you listening, think about something that happened to you recently, even something tiny. Could you shape it into a compelling 30-second story using what we talked about today?
Set up, contrast, takeaway.
Exactly. And then think, how might sharing that little story change your next English conversation? Definitely something to mull over.
Thanks for tuning in to Chat Like a Native.